It was a very tough time because I was heavily bullied. At the point of time, they even called me motherless. And I somehow or rather got so affected that, I thought of committing suicide because of that super low self-esteem that I had. There's this inner voice in me that told me that, hey, if you were to actually commit suicide, who's going to look after your family members? So that's the thing that actually sparked me not to do any silly action and to brace myself to become stronger.
So hi and welcome to the Onward and Upward Journey with the 505 Circle. The Onward and Upward is a philosophy carved out from the passion of understanding businesses, markets, people, products, and tools. And this is a way of building perception through insights, ideas, and stories through different thought leaders from different walks of life. A first in the series of Onward and Upward, powered by the 505 Circle, we are joining hands with the pioneers and the evangelists and the authors of the Growth Hacking Book 2, bringing out a series of thought leadership-based discussions which will cover the essence of each chapter contributed by the authors. Our guest for today, highly inspirational, right? A young professional, a young man who actually goes there and helps out professionals living a very hectic and stressful lifestyle and helps them achieve a peaceful and happy life. This is all his thoughts, which I actually sort of picked up. He's a motivational speaker, a caregiver to his mentally ill mother. He has gone through a series of setbacks and now he has rebounded stronger. He has been featured in both local and international media. He calls himself the celebrity whisperer, host, and coach. Rayson Choo. Hi, Rayson, and welcome.
Hi, really honored, to be here. Really appreciate, this 505 platform. It's really amazing, and I'm looking forward to kick some tip with you tonight.
Fantastic. That's the right way of kicking our conversation, ahead. Let's go ahead and quickly get started and talk about maybe your background, right? So
Sure.
I did, give the introduction, and there are a lot of triggers that I can actually see there. A lot of setbacks, which actually sort of made you stronger. So I think most of us would be interested in understanding how this journey has been and how has it actually evolved you as a person. You actually talk about coaching, motivational speaking, and podcasting. These are your final elements that you sort of align to. So how has your journey been so far? What were the triggers? And if you could maybe bring that out, that'll be great.
All right, sure. So it all happened in 2014 where I actually graduated from the army. So every boy who went through their teenage years and even young adulthood, they have to actually go through army, especially in Singapore. Right. So I went through this, 2 years or so of army, and then after that, I thought, with a diploma in nursing, I could go wherever I want, do whatever I want in terms of nursing. So somehow or rather, I made the best decision ever in my whole entire career, and that was to actually join a private Japanese clinic to be a nurse. And to be frank, going through that moment, I thought, I could survive all the way for a while, probably for a couple of years before I changed my job. But apparently, within the next 3 months or so, I kind of got a letter from the clinic, and that was, you are being fired. So I made some mistakes. I couldn't concentrate and all this kind of stuff. So somehow or rather, I wasn't able to perform well, and because of some setbacks, I would say some problems, some issues with my ex-girlfriend, I just couldn't focus. I just couldn't concentrate at work, and then boom, I lost my job. And then within a few weeks later, I broke up with my ex-girlfriend. We broke up. I lost my job, my career, my money, income. I lost love. So everything all came hand in hand. Like, it was superbly disastrous. It's like Murphy's laws acting on me. And the ironic part was, instead of giving up, because I told myself that, hey, you know what, I have my parents, my biological mom, my biological dad, and my stepmom to look after in the near future. I wouldn't want to allow myself to give up so easily. So I decided to take a leap of faith and to find out what's my main purpose in life, what I want to do. And so that's when I actually encountered I would say, a commercial during the movie screening of, I would say, Avengers or something like that. That was like a few years back. And then I thought, hey, you know what? That is the commercial that brought me out of life. Like, I watched it and I realized that, hey, I love to teach, I love to speak, I love to inspire people. I should be doing something like this. What am I doing other than just watching movies with my friends, right? So I told myself I'm gonna go out there and source out for this perfect job opportunity for myself. And that is to actually inspire people, to motivate people. And that's when, after the whole movie ended, went back home, turned off Facebook. Guess what? I saw my ex-secondary schoolmate, okay, doing motivational speaking. And I was like, hey, isn't that like what I was thinking about an hour or so ago? And then next moment, there you are, doing a, like a laws of attraction kind of thing that's
Yeah.
happening for me. And I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna keep in touch with him, because this guy, even in school, I wasn't really that uh, comfortable with him, or I would say that even till then, I wasn't really speaking much with him. So I was like, okay, why not just break the ice and just try, right? And then, long story short, he recommended me to his mentor, and that's where I actually started to go to primary schools, which is for 7 years old to 12 years old, and then secondary school will be from 13 to 17 years old, and we went to schools to speak, and that's where I started my so-called speaking career. And the thing was, that speaking career didn't last very long, because within a few months after that, I decided to actually take that another leap of faith, take another leap of faith to join psychiatric nursing. Okay, so that was something, because I have a diploma in nursing, so I thought I do not want to waste my nursing diploma, and also at the same time, I have a mentally ill mom that I would love to actually know how to communicate with,
Hmm.
and also at the same time to ensure that we do not have too much of um, I would say, conflict between the both of us and misunderstandings between both of us. I thought of, just going there and give it a try. And guess what? The next 4 months of my whole career was the most amazing one. It was like a topsy turvy of the one that I had in Japanese clinic. So what happened was, in the next 4 months, I was very thankful, very lucky as well, to be featured on national newspapers. I was featured on the
Wow.
local newspapers for my life story, the story that actually brought many to tears, to inspiration, and so many other stuff. Because I told them that I'm taking on a job to actually get closer to my mom. And that's where they all got inspired and they want to know more. And that's where this story came on. And then after that, the next few months, I was being invited to my hospital to be a guest speaker. And then after that, next year, I was being featured on in another hospital, and then after that, I was being featured in another newspaper, and then after that, I was getting more features, and then I just kept going and then just kept taking the opportunities, grabbing as much opportunities as possible, not just on the local media. I also was being interviewed, like what I'm doing right now,
Hmm.
right? Being interviewed on US podcasts, UK podcasts, and many other podcasts as well. And I was also being nominated as I would say, a Generation Brit Award nominee. So it's actually hosted by one of the Singapore uh, newspaper publications. So somehow or rather, I was being nominated, and I was really grateful for that opportunity as well. And it was like, boom, it was like amazing, because I have some celebrity friends that actually helped me to get myself nominated. And of course, I might not have won that um, award, but it was I would say, a breathtaking kind of journey for me, because I got to meet a lot of millennials that are really, going, that has actually went through a lot of different kind of pathway of kind of like problems, issues, difficulties, and all this kind of stuff. They've been through a lot more than I have. But then again, uh, I'm just pretty surprised to actually see that, wow, there's actually so many of them out there that are actually going through a lot of different struggles, and yet, you know, they are as resilient as I am, or even way more resilient than I am, and they are not really giving up in their hopes, in their dreams, in their goals, and all. So I'm really, really grateful, during this period of time, um, I am able to be featured on all this. But of course, aside from nursing, in terms of podcasting, it all happened in 2017. So in 2014, while I was down and out, I was also listening to podcasts. I was listening to this podcast by Joel Brown called Addicted to Success. And I'm still in contact with this guy, and I'm looking towards getting him onto my podcast real soon. And also I already featured his partner in crime already. So I'm looking forward to actually get him on board. So the thing was, during that period of time, I was down and out, and I was listening to his podcast. I was watching YouTube videos by Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, Ty Lopez, and all the other people. And of course, there are positive reviews, negative reviews, but I didn't really think so much about that. I was only looking at their content. I was watching their content, diving deep into their content, executing on each of their content, and of course, um, it took me a while to actually decide to do something that Joel has actually done. That Joel has actually went on to interview the biggest, best brains ever. People like Anthony Robbins, people like Juven Langford, and so many other people that's influential in their own niche in Australia and US and many other countries. And I was thinking to myself, hey, if Joe Brown can actually do this, why not me? Right? Why not give it a try? Like how Kush is doing right now, interviewing growth hacking book to authors and all. So I thought like, hey, why not I go and interview authors as well? And that was my first kind of thought idea that came out. And I was like, okay, interviewing the authors that I know of, that I've met, and I was like, okay, why not just interview this guy called Andrew Chow? So that's my first guy. He is pretty prominent in Singapore and other parts of Southeast Asia. So I interviewed him, and then after that, then I realized that, hey, why not interview all my other entrepreneurial friends, Facebook friends that I kind of known, kind of spoke with, attended their seminars or attended their courses before. Why not let's interview them, right? So it was like this idea came onto my mind, and it's like, okay, let's go. And then I started to interview people that are getting to love legacy, and they're getting to be, like inspired by this boy, this guy who is just a psychiatric nurse, and yet he can go and tap onto the brains of bigger players in entrepreneurship, in the entrepreneurial world. It's like nobody could ever imagine a nurse interviewing entrepreneurs. It's like, hey, this guy is not working for the news station, radio station, or whatever, but this guy just started out his own podcast in 2017, and he's going to crush the world with his podcast, with his information, with the knowledge that all these great minds are combining. He's combining with. And I was like, okay, let's try. And then boom, that's where people started to get to know me, and people started to watch the Legacy Show. People like Mary Buffett, Warren Buffett's daughter-in-law, ex-daughter-in-law, watches the Legacy Show. Peng Joon also watched the Legacy Show once in a while back in the days when he was still using his own profile. Okay, people like I would say, even people like, I would say, there's quite a number of prominent people in Singapore, even in the States, and so many other people. They are also getting to notice the Legacy Show. Ever since Gary Vee came on, Grant Cardone came on, boom, it grew even more. And the best part was, and the best part till today is that I've never ever paid anyone to attend to be a part of my podcast. Like literally. Like I've never paid Gary B, I've never paid Grant Cardone, I've never paid Steve Sims, Paul Gather, or anyone that has appeared on my podcast. Of course, people will be there were some people that said, "Oh, you paid the agency
Mhm.
some fee to actually get him onto the podcast," or some people would say that, "Oh, you paid probably the organizers, the event organizers, the fee to actually get them onto your podcast." But no, I didn't. What I did was just by, I would say, through getting noticed by them. So some of them that's prominent in Singapore, they just texted me, or they just commented on my Facebook and said, or even private message me on Facebook and or Instagram and ask me, "Hey, you have a podcast, right?" And it's like, "Yeah, how do you know that?" "Oh yeah, I'm interested in getting to be a part of your podcast." It's like, "Oh, okay, cool." And there are some people who even like ask me directly, "So when's my turn?" And it's like, okay, cool." And of course, there are people who actually um, who are from those agencies where they actually get their clients onto podcasts or onto the traditional media and etc. They happen to find my podcast, and they eventually emailed me, or they private messaged me and told me that, "Hey, I have these people like Michael Dash, I have people like Steve Sims that's in my arbitrage, and I want you to actually interview this guy." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And there were even more people so that came on. And to be frank, I'm really grateful for the growth of the Legacy Show, even though it's not a million downloads, a million views or whatsoever, but he has reached 100 plus K uh, views already, because I normally use Facebook Live and let them, get to connect with the audience, and also at the same time get the audience to connect with the guests directly, rather than pre-recorded and all this kind of stuff. So I'm really grateful, all these opportunities came, and I'm still in contact with a few of them, or I'd say most of them. In fact, people like Grant Cardone, I'm still in contact with him. I'm still in contact with his family friend, and so many other people that I'm still in contact with. But of course, how I wish I'm still in contact with Gary V every single month or year. But to be frank, because of my podcast and the help of my friends that actually saw that love of mine for Gary, they one of them actually gave me an opportunity to have a meetup with him. And it
Wow.
was like, yeah, it was a business meetup with different Singaporean business owners and influencers, and we all came to meet him up batch by batch. And I was really grateful, to be able to interview him, even though it's just 5 minutes only, or 5 minutes plus. But still, it was the best time of my life, because I got to, be impacted directly. And he still remembered me back then. 2017, 2018, 2019, I met him, and he still remembered me, and we hugged one another last year. Too bad this year he can't come to Singapore because of COVID-19. But I believe when he get to see me, and when I get to see him, he will still remember me somehow or other, because of the question and the impact that I had for him. And of course, not saying that I'm super important. There are so many other people that has impacted him a lot, like 7-year-old kid or 10-year-old kid that asked him certain questions, and definitely he could have remembered. But of course, for my case, I believe he will remember quite a fair bit, because of our time of interaction and everything else. So yeah, so this was like the journey for me. And I will always never forget the importance of making this relationship, friendship grow together as one. Because being able to connect with them, network with them, or even collaborate or interview with them, it's the best thing that you can ever have, in my opinion.
Join me is Rayson Choo. He is the founder of the Legacy Show, where he invites speakers, influencers, and successful entrepreneurs to his show, and he interviews them. And some guests includes like Patrick Liu and Gary Vaynerchuk.
No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, what a great journey. What an inspiration. Kudos to you, for hanging in
Oh,
there
thank
and
you.
transforming yourself right from 2014 to 2017 and now 2020. Amazing journey. No, I tip my
Oh,
hat. Amazing.
thank you.
So, a quick sort of a rapid fire sort of a scenario for you. If you were to
Sure.
give top three takeaways from your line of work, what would that be?
Well, the line of the line of work in terms of nursing wise, I would say that mental health is very important. Okay, mental health is AKA similar as what you have for your physical health. Meaning to say that if you are able to fall sick, okay, in terms of your fever, in terms of your common flu, or even COVID-19, or any kind of sickness, okay, that can encompass it from your body, right? Then all the more your brain will fall sick. So that's why you need to take good care of your brain, your mind, especially when you're on a down curve. Make sure you don't dwell too much on the past and all this kind of stuff, because I know it sucks to feel, sad, to feel bad, to have someone dump you, or to have someone to hurt you so badly. But you still have to move forward, still have to go forward and onwards, because no matter what, that person who hurt you or who did anything to you, or any situation or scenario that happened to you, it's in the past. It's not in the future, nor is it now. Like literally, somebody scolded you the F word. Next moment, what happens? 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds pass. That will still feel hurt. But then again, why do you want to let it hurt you when you are able to convince yourself that it's just somebody's way of thinking, somebody's way of mindset, and things like that? So that's point number one. And of course, number two is in the field of coaching, I would say that you got to be coachable. No matter what, if you want to be successful in any part of your life and any niche or any kind of career that you want to go, you make sure that you're coachable. Why would I say you're coachable? Because A, if you're not coachable, whatever that's being shared with you is like as if you're putting it in the dumpster. Everything that's put inside without use will be waste. All right. So that's why you need to actually go out there and take action. Okay. After being coached, after being able to learn. Okay. All this amazing stuff. And number three is procrastinate whenever you need to, but when it's time for you to hustle, go and hustle.
Yeah.
No, there's no such thing as procrastination hurts. Yes, it hurts only when you procrastinate for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or even 7 days, right? If you procrastinate. But sometimes you need that procrastination because you wouldn't want to be burnout. Because if you don't, you're not able to actually take good care of yourself, and you burn out too often and too much, all the more your brain will fry. It's just like computer, when it's overly used, the next moment what will happen? Boom,
Yeah.
gone. So that's why it is necessary for you to actually go and ensure that you take good care of yourself, your mental health especially. Okay, that's why self-care is very, very important. Okay, which comes back to point number one, mental health. All right, very, very important.
I couldn't agree more. So yeah, good takeaways there. Now I actually was reading somewhere, and I actually was very intrigued by a vision. Right, so you actually have a
Yeah,
vision of inspiring about 20,000 people in the world,
by
and that's
2020,
like,
right?
yeah, by 2020. And
Yeah.
obviously, this year hasn't been the way everybody sort of envisioned it to be, right? So maybe we
Yes.
can wipe that out, and maybe
Mhm.
this can be 2021. So how far have you actually come through, and how has your experience been, right? So yeah.
All right. So basically, if let's say we are talking about people that has been inspired, I believe there are many of them, right? You included, and so many other people that I've actually spoken with. And of course, if you count the people that has viewed the Legacy show and continuously viewing it, definitely I've already reached more than 20K.
Yeah.
Um, But the thing is, I would love to one day, be able to speak to 20,000 people one shot, like how Tony Robbins is able to,
Mm.
inspire so many people. But of course, that's baby steps.
Yes.
Like Chris Gardner has told me before, baby steps count. So I have to keep going, and as slow as possible or as steady as possible, as fast as possible. When I have to be fast, yeah, I would love to go and speak to 20,000 one shot. But now, um, it's okay because numbers don't matter sometimes.
Yeah.
What matters
Progress.
is progress, and also at the same
Yes.
time, the I would say the people that has inspired you and already said thank you to you or sent you private message and things like that. This is considered as the blessings that you are giving and the blessings that I have been able to be giving to all these people around. So definitely, this is the vision of 20,000 people speaking to them directly. And yeah, this is something that I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
No, it is a journey, and like you said, progress is everything, and
Yes.
you will actually sooner than later get there. So all the best to that.
Hmm.
Now, coming to
Thank
the
you.
growth hacking book too, right? So very
Yes.
importantly, we are actually here to talk about that as well. So, what is
Yep.
your chapter all about? What is the essence, or why should a reader go out there and read your chapter?
All right, so basically, my chapter is, I believe, one of the crucial ones, because it's all about the letter M, mindset. Okay,
Hmm.
why I said mindset is very important, because if you do not have that mindset to improve, to grow, or to even outgrow your comfort zone, all the more you will not take action and you will not be able to improve your life, your lifestyle, or anything like that. Because many people out there, be it in India, Singapore, US, UK, whichever country they are from, be it they are the middle income, the lower income, or the probably slightly higher income, okay, but somehow or other, those people with the better mindset, okay, they thrive
Hmm.
more than those who are amateurish, that are having the average kind of mindset. Average mindset meaning to say that, okay, I go to work, I go home, help my family with household chores, cook for the children, go out with friends, go party a bit, boom, sleep, exercise, yoga, whatever, that's it. But then again, they are not making full use of their gifts to the world, their purpose. They are not fulfilling those purpose in my perspective. That's why my chapter is all about finding your mindset, having the right mindset, and at the same time finding your purpose. How you can actually uncover your purpose, how you can make sure that you have that mindset so that you can work towards your direction, towards the goal that you want in order to feel happier and to be more successful in your life. Not just 2021, but above and beyond.
Fantastic. So I'm really, keen and curious to, go get there, get my hands on the book and, read your chapter.
Me too.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
Fantastic. Now, from a future perspective, what are your future goals and aspirations? Have you sort of thought your way through that?
Well, of course, I have, and definitely that is to actually give back to the community by sharing my gifts of not just my mental health knowledge, but also at the same time my motivational work, my speaking, my coaching, and also at the same time be able to expand legacy beyond what I have done for it so far. So that's why I want to make sure that I keep my records clean, and also make sure that I keep I would say, the fans raving for this legacy, for this
Hmm.
brand, for even for myself as well, because I truly believe that once you have a raving product, that or even a brand or anything like this, okay, that people are raving for, people will come to you, and they won't just come to you, but also at the same time they'll introduce to their friends, to their best friends, to their family, and whosoever that needs that. That is just like how so many people found the growth hacking book number one so useful
Yeah.
and so amazing. That's why Growth Hacking Book 2 is coming out, and that's why all of you that are watching right now, you guys are supposed to go to Amazon and go and check it out. And not just check it out, but also click on the buy. Okay? Add to the cart. All right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Just before we sort of sign off, one sort of
Yeah.
success mantra that you would want to leave for the audience to sort of take away and sort of inspire them?
Sure.
In times like this, even like COVID virus and all
COVID
this,
virus.
even in times of bad times, like the one that I had, the one
Right.
that you had, the one
Yeah.
that people are facing right now during COVID virus, all this are in fact a lesson for us,
Yes.
a time for us to learn, and then also at the same time, a time for
Right.
us to ensure that we have a comeback after our setback.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is what I believe in. As long as you press on, as long as you're willing to take the hits, as long as you're willing to learn and even unlearn what you have learned about certain things before,
Right.
then all the more certain amazing miracles will come to you.
My number one mantra is you only live once. You only live once as you, not as Kush, not as Rayson, Choo, not as Gary V, Grant Cardone, not anyone else, but you yourself. Okay, so that's why I would want you to really go and dive deep and ask yourself who you are, why you're here, what are your gifts, and what should you do with your gifts, and how are you able to monetize from your gifts so that you can prosper and at the same time give it back to the millions of people out there. Or even if you can't give to the millions, give to the tens, to the hundreds, and then slowly to the thousands and to the millions of people, because everyone out there are struggling right now to
Yep.
find out who they really are. And not just finding out who they really are, they are also finding out what is it that they are supposed to do so that they can prosper. So why not go out there and help them as much as you can, and at the same time, don't forget to grow yourself, because when you are not in the growth mode, then all the more you can't growth hack your life. You can't even really help the rest. So that's why you have to first help yourself before you can help others. Or even while you're helping yourself, you can also go out there and help along the way, because while you're doing this, you are also prospering in terms of karma, in terms of a lot of other amazing things and opportunities that will be coming to you. I've went through it, and I believe you should also give it a try and let us know how is it after that.
Look, Rayson, those are like profound thoughts and really appreciate it. Thank you so much for
Oh,
being a part of the
thank you.
Firefly Circle and sharing some great insights and best practices, which I'm sure will help many to go onward and upward. Thank you.
Yep.